Next up, District Energy and Thermal Network. Presentation by Anthony Parente, Manager, and Farshad Salazadeh, Expert Energy and Resource Recovery, Water and Wastewater. Farshad and Anthony, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of Regional Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present our thermal energy strategy today. So 2.5 years ago, the region made a pivotal decision to recommend the use of thermal energy from wastewater for the Lakeview Village District Energy Project. Staff were also tasked to further explore thermal energy opportunities and develop a strategy. Today, we're here to present the strategy's recommendation. The strategy confirms that wastewater is a valuable resource and significant source of thermal energy. It is a generational and pivotal opportunity with major environmental and long-term financial benefits for Peel and our local municipalities. Our thermal energy strategy found a compelling trend. The use of thermal energy from various sources, including wastewater for district energy purposes, is significantly increasing in Canada. Many municipalities are engaging in DE development, ownership, and governance. Farshad is now going to present an overview of the key recommendations.
Thanks, Anthony. Good morning, everyone. My name is Farshad. I'll get right into it. Through you, Mr. Chair. In October of last year, staff from City of Mississauga, Peel, and NBAVE joined distinguished guests, including elected officials, for the groundbreaking of Lakeview Village project. District energy systems, or in short, DE, are not new. They've been around for over a century. They're efficient, proven, and widely used worldwide. Downtown Toronto, Hamilton, Montreal, Vancouver all have one. There are over 100 DEs in Canada and close to 6,000 of them in the United States. The entire country of Denmark almost works on this model. These systems provide heating and cooling from an energy center. The energy is sent to buildings through a network of pipes shown in green on the slide. The energy center typically uses electricity and natural gas. In Lakeview Village case, waste heat will ultimately become the main source of energy. The thermal energy is projected to supply up to 80% of the energy input, reducing reliance on electricity and natural gas. Since up to 70% of the DE operating cost comes from energy, this means major cost saving. Also, Peel's long-term energy contract, 40 to 50 years, improves financial certainty for the DE provider, where gas and electricity costs are volatile. Lakeview Village is large and will require a significant amount of thermal energy. The energy will be originated in GE Booth Water Resource Recovery Facility. Roughly 5% of our thermal energy will be sent to Lakeview Village via a transmission pipe shown in purple in the slide. In Lakeview Village, Peel acts as an enabler. It means Peel is not proposing to make a significant financial investment. The private sector will. It also means that Peel will not see significant revenue generated from the use of its energy. In the enabler model, a private entity will make the capital investment that is required to access the energy. Lakeview Village is unique given its adjacency to GE Booth. The capital cost is minimized. While this is opportunistic for Lakeview Village, it does not incentivize communities that are farther away to use our energy. Under optimistic conditions, roughly 10% of Peel's reserve of energy is estimated to be used with this model. The thermal energy strategy proposes a shift. Peel becomes a participant. Peel would deliver energy to DE providers at their site. In return, Peel would earn a higher rate of return for the energy, sufficient to make the business self-sustaining over time, and fund its future expansion and sustainment. The strategy carefully considered both potential opportunities and financial implications region-wide and recommended an initial work plan, a starting point for implementation, if you will. Along the Lakeshore Corridor, 3 master plan communities have a strong DE potential: Lakeview Village, Rangeview Village, and Port Credit. Population is expected to quadruple here in the next 25 years, mind you. Under the enabler model, Rangeview may develop a DE system because of its adjacency to Lakeview Village. If it does, it will likely be Lakeview Village's provider. Other providers are unlikely to compete. Port Credit, being far from GE Booth, is less likely to advance a DE system. Under the participant model, Peel would commit to building a transmission pipe and deliver its thermal energy to future sites in Port Credit and beyond. This removes a major barrier for DE providers and strengthens business case for DE development. The participant model will generate more DE development opportunities, but more importantly, it will pave the way for future expansions beyond communities that were listed earlier. For this, Peel will have to invest, but financial analysis confirms that the business becomes self-sufficient over the long term. Higher use of Peel thermal energy and potentially more DE systems means more revenue and less greenhouse gas emissions. DE systems are considered one of the most effective ways to cut GHGs. This initial work plan could result in GHG reduction equal to 44% of Peel's corporate emissions. That's very, very significant. These systems also help reduce and offset the dependency and need for expansion of electricity and natural gas networks. Time is critical. Sorry, jumping ahead of myself. Time is critical. The best time to build these systems is before buildings are constructed. Also, major work is planned at our facility and in these communities. Acting now enables us to integrate the work into existing plans and ultimately reduce cost and disruption for the communities. Much work has been done, but much more work is left to do. Building partnership with public and private sector is our next priority. This includes active engagement with the development community, funding partners, and DE providers. It is important to highlight that the proposed strategy does not require an immediate investment, only a desire to pursue next steps in supporting DE systems using energy from wastewater. Peel will not invest unless private sector partners for DE development have been secured. With that, I'll pass it on back to Anthony.
And finally, really, truly, this approach plays to Peel's strengths. This photo on the screen is of a construction site in one of our shafts nearby here. Many of you have come out and visited our facility, gone into the tunnel. Truly, our expertise in water and wastewater services is directly transferable to this proposal. And Peel, as a mature utility, has a lot to lend to this. Truly, we're the pump and pipe specialist, and thermal energy is just an extension of that. With that, we thank you very much for your attention. Happy to take any questions that you may have.
Yes, several. Councillor Paleshi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation. When I'm going through the report, really super excited. I really can't wait to see this happening, and I'm glad that you've kind of identified other potential sites. Really super exciting. The only question that I had, and I think that you kind of mentioned in the last comment, was with the private sector. And in terms of revenue, what I wouldn't want to see is this as kind of a revenue generating tool for the region. I want it to be able to, I want to be able to make our money back for the investment and then potentially have something to work towards that next area or something to that effect. Is that what you're kind of saying? Not like we're going to capture all this money. We're going to be like a big bad Enbridge. We're not doing that, right?
Through the chair, Councillor, absolutely. That the strategy absolutely recommends reinvestment to continue the strategy. There's incredible opportunity. We have we estimate 300 megawatts of thermal energy available. So as the revenues increase over time, and there is a long time frame from this, we won't lie, that you'll reinvest in the utility and grow the system.
Okay. And so it was a while ago now that I had just mentioned and talked about with the old Algonquin Power, the Emerald now, I believe, and they've been doing something to the effect of, they were creating hydrogen and then selling it to their customers, like right across the street. So when they came in and they were, talking to us about incineration and stuff, I had asked the question about, could you basically take this, a small incinerator, put it into an area, we build a bunch of houses around it, that garbage that's generated from those houses goes to this incinerator, plus, and then essentially you're heating that subdivision or building or anything. And they said, let us take that away, and then ended up coming back saying, yeah, we could maybe possibly make that work. And that wasn't even including, regional dollars or anything like that. So I think there's more opportunities here. I would like us to maybe potentially look at, and I'm not going to name the land that I'm kind of thinking that it would be a great opportunity. But the land that I will mention maybe is just a small little piece of property out in Northwest Brampton called Heritage Heights. Really, really tiny. No, this is different. This is a different piece of land that I will name. Only 152,000 people, not that big. But maybe that's something, and I don't know if you're going to tell me it's too late for that, but is there an opportunity for us to maybe look at Heritage Heights to say, we're not going to stop anything, but there's potential here?
Through the chair, Councillor, maybe I'll divide your question into two. On the Emerald, we actually have a preliminary meeting with them.
Excellent.
Next week to talk about exactly this. We are actively looking for thermal energy opportunities in our system, whether that be even data centers. Rather than using water, we use wastewater for cooling through processes that are available in technology. On the other matter, I'm going to ask Farshad to talk to you a little bit about some of the other opportunities, because there's many nodes in the system that we've looked at and we will contemplate in the future. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Would you like to add to that?
Regarding Heritage Heights?
Yes, sir.
That is certainly one of the nodes that has DE potential. However, energy from wastewater is what we are advocating for here. And the wastewater, Heritage Heights is at the very top end of the system. So we wouldn't have a direct opportunity right at this moment to provide them with that energy, because all the wastewater that they have is what they produce themselves. And you need a lot of wastewater. You can assume maybe a 10-to-1. You need 10 times the population to provide heating and cooling for one person. And all they have is just themselves. It is certainly an opportunity if it becomes a DE system. In the future, we would be able to connect to them. But at the moment, we can't provide them with that energy.
Okay, so what if we were to then say, because Caledon is that next frontier north of Heritage Heights then, so what if we were to say let's say, and I'm going to just choose Emerald because they've always been a great partner in the region, and they're a staple in Brampton, employing lots of people from the region of Peel. I'm just going to use them, and I probably shouldn't, but regardless. If they were to say, yeah, we could plop something, small, an incinerator though, and don't go at me, anybody that's listening, about incineration. Most of our garbage goes to incineration now. If that was to happen, where they said they could do something and work together, is that something that we would look at? We would enter into some kind of discussions with them?
Through the chair, Councillor, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what Farshad is saying is we look at this as where the big opportunity is, and that's with the effluent down the south end. There's absolutely opportunities as the system grows and we have large amounts of flow to recover the heat actually up or higher in the system and use it for DE. It's a little bit more complex, but it's absolutely doable. Would we be able to entertain that if we would have those partners? It's exactly what we're trying to do with the strategy and next steps. Look for those opportunities.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor.
Again, very exciting.
Thank you, Councillor Daskal.
Yeah, there we go. No, it takes a while to get on. Thank you through the chair. Gentlemen, thank you very much for all of your work and very challenging work as well to make all of this stuff come together. And I guess one of the questions I do have is, we're talking about district energy now. Is this, you mentioned a few other areas in Canada that are doing this as well, but around the world, is this becoming more and more of a common practice to be able to utilize district energy where you have the density and you have the source to be able to fuel that?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There are numerous examples I can name. I named a few systems in Canada that have it. Just think of just about any major municipality around the planet. Stockholm, Copenhagen, Amsterdam. Majority of these municipalities have a system, and a lot of them, the core part, the majority of the system is running by that. Also, there are actually a rather newer report from China that they are significantly clicking into this in big, big ways. They are building transmissions of 50 kilometers length from their center of energy to send the thermal energy to sensors of population. So it's becoming very, very common. Recently, as recent as 3 months ago, Durham approved another similar initiatives. They are getting into this business and they want to support another one. Hamilton is another one. They are building another transmission line to deliver energy. There's so many examples. I could just keep going on.
Okay, and this is one where I, for example, had a real privilege a few years back to go on a delegated tour to Sweden to see how this was being done. The real excitement here too is the fact that what's being done in Lakeview, which is, I think is, for the scale that it's being done, is pretty phenomenal. And the mere fact that the foresight is there to not just have district energy, but to showcase it in a sustainability center. And so I applaud everybody and the Lakeview partners for being such stalwarts to make this all come together, because I know it hasn't been an easy ride. And also, another individual, I must give a shout out to Jim Dorn, who was with the city for a while. I believe he's with is it Caledon or Brampton now? Caledon. You guys are lucky, I'll tell you. He's a good catch, and really helped work with the team to make it happen. So just absolutely thrilled to see where this is going. The fact that Anthony and Farshad, the way that you've looked at this in terms of where you can go next with it, is just really exciting. And as well, the GHG reduction component to that alone is extremely exciting. And really glad to hear places like China and that are starting to really start adopting that. It's really the way of the future. And just to see the team spearheading this is absolutely phenomenal. So great to see, and happy to move at the particular time that we have.
And that would be right now, as moved by Councillor Dasco, seconded by Councillor Paleshi, that the recommendations of the thermal network strategy as set out in the report of the Commissioner of Public Works listed on the October 23, 2025 Regional Council agenda titled District Energy and Thermal Network be approved, and that staff proceed with the necessary steps for implementation as outlined in the subject report, and that staff be directed to report back on an annual basis on the progress of the implementation of the District Energy and Thermal Network. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Gentlemen, thank you. And on to our last presentation from staff, early years